What is going on, guys? My name is Rhexah and welcome to the video. Today's video is quite a bit different. I wanted to take a look back at an old game, if you could even call it a game. I wanted to take a look at PlayStation Home. If you don't know what PlayStation Home is, heck, some of you might even be too young to know what PlayStation Home is. PlayStation Home is one of the best and worst things Sony have ever released on the PlayStation 3. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on PlayStation Home or any of the developers. I adore this game. If I didn't adore it, I wouldn't be making this video. I wanted to remember PlayStation Home for what it was before I forgot. And the problem with that is it was plagued with so many faults and just, it was terrible. But the community behind it is so passionate. Like, you can look at the community now and you still see remnants of it. You still see people say, I love PlayStation Home. I loved PlayStation Home. So, let's start from the beginning. Let's have a little history lesson. PlayStation Home was announced on March 7th, 2007, a whole 10 years ago from this video, and was scheduled for a release of October the same year. But after being revised, worked on, and expanded, it officially opened in open beta of December 11th, 2008. More than a year later. During this year, there was people invited to closed betas, but it officially released in 2008. So already, the problems are beginning before it's even released. But did that discourage people from downloading it? Did it stop people wanting to play? Not one bit. In June 2009, it was reported that the number of users exceeded 7 million, and by TGS 2009, it was announced that the game had been downloaded by 8 million users. As a side note, TGS 2009 also had games presented such as Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker and Final Fantasy Versus 13, which later became Final Fantasy 15, released on the PlayStation 4. Which just further puts into perspective of how long ago this was. Now, around this time in 2009, I must have joined PlayStation Home, and within an hour, it finally loaded and I fell in love with it. The thing that PlayStation Home users will always remember are the atrocious loading times. It was terrible on every region. It's worth noting, every region had a different home hub, which actually encouraged me to make separate PlayStation accounts and check out Japan, America. Japan had the coolest one, might I add, which is not really a surprise. But despite the loading times, people were still loving the game. Now, enough of the history, it's time for my own personal experience. I had never played anything like this before. I don't think there was anything like this before. PlayStation set out to make a social home for gamers. It was a social network for gamers at the time. You could log into the lobby and voice chat to people, text chat to people. And I had never played anything like this before, and I think that's what lured me into it. It was so good, it's why I fell in love with it. And the fact that I could just go into the shopping centre and buy clothes. Clothes were either free or quite cheap. And it was also a financial success early on for PlayStation. They sold, I can't remember, but they sold million amount. And it was so good. You had stuff, you could do stuff like bowling, pool, or you could just do what I did and just walk around and sit in the middle and just enjoy the sounds and see people run by and have a chat. PlayStation Home was absolutely incredible. And it still leaves some people wondering, what happened? Like, why did this go downhill? And to me personally, it's still a mystery, because I could go into the bowling alley and wait for a lane and play with 4 random people and love it. Or I could go into the corner and play a couple of arcade games, or play a game of pool. I could leave there and go down to the beach and just walk along. I could go back into the shopping centre, buy a dinosaur outfit. It was just so wacky and kooky. And my favourite part, the place where I spent the second most amount of time, was in my own personal space. when you go onto PlayStation Home, you have your own apartment, your own private space, and you can decorate this however you like. You can get couches, you can get tables, you can get a Doctor Who TARDIS, which is fully decorated inside. You could get a lot of stuff, and that was the best part about it. There is so much promotional material. Street Fighter, Jesus Christ, I'm not even going to begin to list them off. There was so much, and it was so good up until a point, because it was at this stage that people started seeing it as more advertisement than a social place, because it just got crazy with the amount of stuff that you could buy. And it wasn't a case of, oh yeah, they just kept pumping stuff out. It was the quality of the stuff they were pumping out. And I think this was when PlayStation Home started to go downhill. Now, PlayStation Home was, and still is to this day, amazing, because you could load up Home, and then inside of Home you could load up your games. You could put the disc into the PlayStation 3, and it will give you instructions on how to load the game up. It allowed you to play with completely random people in multiplayer games. Games inside of PlayStation Home, the ones that were implemented into Home itself, were really fun. I remember a skydiving game, I believe. I remember Guitar Hero. I remember World Cup. During the World Cup, PlayStation Home released its first global public space. That was on June 10th, 2010. And it allowed people from Asia, Europe, North America, it allowed the world to join in one public space for the 2010 FIFA World Cup. And that was incredible. I think this was the point where I realized, holy crap, this is big, this is massive. It just felt incredible because the amount of companies and games and activities that were brought into PlayStation Home, it felt so expansive and never ending, which is just further fuel that confuses me as to why it ever shut down. Late 2015, I went to play PlayStation Home. I thought to myself, I want a nostalgia blast. I want to play something that I've not played in a long time. I'm going to load up PlayStation Home. And as I did that, I was greeted with a message that it was shut down. And it was just an image that thanked all 41 million users for playing. And I just kind of sat back and I thought, wow, that's the end. And I had no idea. I didn't know anybody that played it, so nobody could tell me. I didn't keep a tab on it because I wasn't playing it. It was just such a shock to see this game that I adored had shut down. And still to this day, I don't officially know why it shut down. In August 2014, Sony Japan announced that it would be closing down the Asian region servers. And the reason that I find for that is financial. The Asian region wasn't making any money, so there's no money to keep it up, so they're going to shut it down. But then after September, Sony America and Europe announced that they were going to be shutting down their respective regions. So, on March 31st, 2015, PlayStation Home officially shut down. Closed. It's heartbreaking to look back on this history because I really loved PlayStation Home. It was such a great joy for me. I don't remember what I was playing back then. I was still playing Time Shift. I was playing the demo of Time Shift, the first level, and Grand Theft Auto 4, and this was all I would play. PlayStation Home would add something new into this mix of the games I was just playing over and over again. It introduced me to the social side of gaming. It introduced me to the social gaming world. It showed me that gaming is just more than playing a story and finish. And I loved PlayStation Home. Now, I don't know if I'm remembering a good service or if I'm just remembering nostalgia, because you can always get washed up in nostalgia and you can always feel overwhelmed. So, who knows? But all I know is PlayStation Home will have a special place in my heart forever, and many people will share the same sentiment. Now, I would find it very unfair of me to not tell you about the alternatives that PlayStation Home fans have taken up, like Atom Universe by Atom Republic and Nebula Realms by Zalok Studios. My personal favourite, though, is a PC exclusive called Tower Unite. All of these I may do a video on in the future, so if you'd like to see that, let me know. In the meantime, I hope you find that joy that you once had from PlayStation Home. Or, if you just want to try it out, I hope you get to share the joy we all did. I have one more thing to say which I completely forgot to mention. The soundtrack. The soundtrack in PlayStation Home is absolutely incredible. It is created and crafted by a multitude of artists, and the one in the background right now, the outro song, I find it to be very appropriate. It is called One More Minute, and I think many of us, and most definitely myself, would love just one more minute on PlayStation Home. I have to admit, I find it rather poetic that a song that was in the game is being used as the final goodbye that I'm giving it. Goodbye, PlayStation Home. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and comment down below. It really does help out the channel. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you all in the next video.